Hello, everybody. Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting live. Today is Sunday. Sunday, August 21st, 2022. Um, Today I am going to work on a UFO. Well, I cannot go to the beginning. That's wonderful. So I am going to just work on a UFO because I have so many of them and I need to get some of them taken care of. So who do we have here today? It will scroll. This is as far as I can go. So June, Kim, Ginger, Heather, Ellen, Cheryl, Beverly, Rena, Heather, Ginger. I probably already said those. Jacqueline, another June, Teresa, Nora, Sandra, Rita, Kathy is here, Catitude. Let's see, Mary, Judy, Tanya, Lenny, Steer, Beverly, and it just scrolled on me. So, hello. Who? Jim. Hi, Jim. So, welcome everybody that's here. Sorry I didn't catch all the names because it just starts scrolling like crazy as soon as the video is done doing that spooling thing that it does, which it does when it goes to turn on, but when other devices are behind because we run so many. So I'm going to work on a UFO. A while back on a, was it Zoom? It was Zoom with Becca that I did the Magnolia Stars, right? No, it was a live stream. I think Becca and I from So Becca, if you type in explanation Becca, it'll give you a link to her channel. Either way, if we did it on Zoom or on her, I think it was on live stream though. We did this quilt called Magnolia Stars, or it's called Magnolia. I'm calling it Magnolia Stars because that's how I keep saying it the whole time because it has these big stars in the middle, and it's a very muted quilt for me. I don't usually do white backgrounds on any quilts whatsoever, and I definitely don't go building around with it with more white, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So this top has been sitting and waiting. This is technically the end of the top, just stopping with this last and final white border, but I can't just let it go without something to make it more visually interestable. Is that a word? Interestable? Interesting. There's a word. Thank you. Sorry, sometimes I just can't get them out, so I make up my own as I go. So I wanted to make it look better. Not that it doesn't look okay itself, but again, I'm not really white background kind of girl with muted, solid, colors. So I decided, since this quilt pattern definitely had a whole heck of a lot of waste, like it used 16 fat quarters, I think 16 fat quarters, and it used barely any of the fat quarters to make this. It was mainly background fabric. So I had a lot left over. So all of the snowballed corners of all of these that make this block right here was left behind. And you guys know me, I don't waste anything. I keep it all and I make something with it. And I can't just live without. So I have to put something there around the borders using those pieces. So on Friday, I was working on these while chatting with Becca. These are my borders. So I made 4 of these. Technically, I had enough to make 6 because I had 6 sets of each color for these. But I only need 4. And they're just this big. That's it. They're not the width of the quilt. So I need to add to it. So I'm going to add white on both sides. And then, like I said, the pattern has lots of waste. So I had 16 4.5-inch strips by the width of the fat quarter, or the length of the fat quarter. I don't know if you want to consider that width or length, but it would have been with the fabric if they weren't cut in half. How's that? So it's the width of the fat quarter. So I had 16 of these left that are 4.5 inches. They were technically like 4 and almost 3/4, but I just trimmed them all to 4.5. And that wasn't it. I still have a project bag filled, I'm telling you, with the last of the pieces that I made right here. So I have 2 more sets I can do with these. So I could have made 2 more strips or added more color to it, but I'm going to save this for a second project. As well as that had, like I said, it had a lot of waste. All this right here, background waste. This is all from it too, from the fat quarters. You really don't cut much from it. So I had all this left over. So this and everything in this package, in this bag, I'm going to make something totally completely different with. So a second quilt out of all of that. And it won't be big. It will be whatever size it turns out to be. Plus adding the borders to this. So I literally will not waste any last bit of all of this stuff. And this can just go back in my project bag for now. Go out of the way. So what I'm going to do is finish this. It's a UFO at this point. It's been sitting over there next to where I keep all the long arm need to do pile. It's been sitting over there, and I've been contemplating this border and contemplating. I said, finally, I'll start putting it together. So Friday with Becca, I started sewing the border pieces, and today we're going to finish this up by adding this all.
Can you do a tutorial on how you design the 25 block pattern?
On how I designed them, I just colored on graph paper for the 25 patch block quilts. That just came to me. Every night I would draw something, 2 or 3 different, shadings of it. Very easy. And I came up with all those.
Would a 10-inch square be enough for 1 block?
Enough for 1 block of this?
Yeah.
No. You still need fat quarter, or no, because I don't even think I'm trying to think if 1/8 of a yard would work for magnolia stars, but it won't either because of the shape of some of the cuts. It won't work. So you have to use fat quarters and then just come up with something when you're done. All right. So I have these. There's 4 of them. And I know that this isn't long enough. So what I'm going to do is add a white strip to this side and to this side. So these are 3 inches wide. So all I did was cut 4 3-inch strips of white fabric. And all I'm going to do is split them in half. If I can find where my daughter left my scissors. Found them. Okay. I'm going to split these in half and sew 1/2 to one side and 1/2 to the other side, and then trim to size after I find the center of the quilt, because I want the center of this piece to land in the center of the quilt. So I'm just going to be sewing 1 of these to each side of each of these. And that's how I'm going to start. And then the rest of it, we're going to add around that, which requires math. And I'm not ready to do that part yet. And if the machine sounds different, it's because I oiled it and lubed it up. So it sounds brand new. All right. So all I'm doing is just taking a strip and cutting it in half on the fold and sewing half to each end. And I'm going to chain piece them all through, as you can see. So hopefully you guys all had a wonderful week this week. I helped my daughter pack some more this week. She's almost ready to move. It's going to be crazy.
So did you show how you made all this in a previous video, ladies and gentlemen?
No, I did not show how I made all this in a previous video. These were just the cutoffs from... Okay, so when you... Oh yeah, me and Becca did this in a video. I don't remember if it's her channel or my channel, or if we did it on the both of our channels at the same time. I don't remember that part, but it's a picture, the thumbnail either on her channel. If you go to her channel, the thumbnail says Magnolia Stars or Magnolia, and then it has a picture of her and a picture of me, of So Becca and me, and then whatever day it was. This was a while ago, and if Becca was here, she'd be able to tell you guys, but I have a horrible memory. I don't remember what I filmed last week. That's how bad my memory is.
You and Lexa did the hats.
Oh yeah, we did hats last week.
Where can they get the Magnolia hat?
Fat Quarter Shop sells it. So if you type in explanation FQS and then go to Fat Quarter Shop and then type in Magnolia, the pattern should come up, and that's where you can find it. All right, one more.
One of our affiliates.
That's one of my affiliate accounts. The pattern is just called Magnolia, though. It's not called Magnolia Stars. That's what I've been calling it this whole time because of the star. Now that these are on, let me just finger press these to one side. And as you can see now, it has become longer. So now all I have to do is find the center and lay it on the quilt top and center it on there so that I can have one on all four sides. The quilt is still going to be a complete square. I'm not rectangling it out. I prefer a rectangle quilt because it fits on a bed better that way, but this one's just going to stay square.
How did you make these zigzag borders?
I just took 4. This is a chevron is what it's called. It's just 4 half square triangles, 2 with the white creating a flying geese and 2 with the color creating a flying geese put together. That's all it is. So it's just 4 half square triangles, background together and color together, and then you put them together creating an arrow. So you can make an arrow. But in solid, it is a chevron, all in one piece. There's number 2. And I will go over who won the giveaway in a little bit. I'm just going to get some sewing done first. And then I'll announce that. Everything's ready to go in the mail because the form that everybody filled out to enter had everyone's addresses, so I can just send it. But I am going to announce who the winners are so that you guys at least know that. But the winners that don't see the video, they'll just end up with something in the mail. All right. So now I need to turn the iron on. Press these so that they're flat. Even though I finger pressed, I still need to press. And then we're going to be finding the center of all of these and of the quilt, which I can do that right here in front of you guys and mark it. So I'm just going to set this aside for now. Set that aside, and we're going to mark the center of the quilt top on all 4 sides with a pin. I'm going to go ahead and just fold it exactly in half, smooth it out, and this is my center right here where I'm going to create this little crease. And I'm going to open it up and stick a pin in it. So that's that center. I'm going to go to this side, repeat, and then do the other 2 sides. because either way I lay these on here, it needs to be centered. I'm just folding it in half, laying it flat, making a little crease, and then adding a pin right at that crease.
What fabric line did you use?
It was called man, I forgot. It's Basics by Basics by Quilters Studio or Quilters something.
Does it say anywhere in there?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think any of the selvages are visible left on these. I said it in the video when I was on with Becca. Quilters Candy Basics. That's what it is. There was a little selvage right here. So this was the Quilters Candy Basics. And they have little stars on them. All right. Let's do these two. And then I can press those flat on the borders and start attaching them. Again, I'll lay this flat. Mark my center, put a pin in it.
It's the Magnolia Store with Becca. It says 2 months ago on your channel.
Okay, I knew it was one of our channels. All right, now for the opposite side, and I'm trying not to poke myself with these pins as well, because now I have sharp pins sticking out. All right, make a crease, throw a pin in it. Now all 4 are marked, and then we just have to find the centers of the borders and attach them after I press. And all I have to do is press the end of each. So here's one ready to find the center.
I can just press the end of each. That's all you're doing.
Here's number 2. Number 3. And number 4. So I'm going to do the same procedure with these. I'm going to fold them exactly in half. And instead of matching my whites, I'm just going to match the half of my piece right here. So my half mark is exactly at this seam between these two, because there's 16 pieces here, so it's an equal amount. There's 8 on each side. So I know that this one is my center. And I also have a seam. This is why I don't press seams open, guys. Did you see that? This is why I don't press open. All of these are pressed open because I thought it would be good, and they're all falling apart. So now I have to sew that real quick.
That's not fun.
Nope, it is not fun. Just gonna finger press it to one side. That is why I don't press open. So 1 down. Just need to find the 8. So that's the center on this one. Number 2. And I'm gonna lose, here's another one where the seam came undone. I'm telling you guys, pressing open only is good for some things. Everything else, it is not. It's just a hassle and it comes undone. It does it on everything I do. Everything that I press open.
Are you done a corner with the color to break the white on all 4 corners?
No, actually, I'm going to be going around with the other colors. I'm just going to bring white all the way to the edge. I'm not doing anything fancy with this one. All right, so that's the center of this one. And then the center of this one. I'm also going to make sure that my arrows all point out. I will do that as soon as I'm done marking all this. And here's another one where the seam came undone. All right, don't move them too much because that's the problem. I'm telling you. All right, side uno. No, I don't backstitch when I know I'm going to press things open. I should, but I don't. All right, so I want my arrows, see those arrows? I want them facing away from the quilt. So my centering is going to be me putting the tips up with each other. So I'm going to line both of these up, take the pins out, place the pin back in where I want it, and then I'm going to walk it out and pin it. I don't normally pin. This is a rarity for you guys to see me do, but we do need to pin these on. Come on.
You could put embroidery on it.
I could embroider on it, but do I want to? Not really. I don't really want to do any more work on this after this one is done. You know, when you have something that sits for a while, and I mean, it only sat for 2 months, whatever. But when it sits for a while and you're constantly staring at it and you're like, I just want to be done with it. Well, this is one of those projects I just want to quilt it and be done with it. Although it's going to sit in the closet and hang for probably another year before I even get to quilting it. I have client jobs. They come before me quilting my own stuff. So this kind of stuff just ends up sitting in there. But I've been pulling from, just little by little, pulling from the piles of stuff that's building up in the closet. All right, one more pin, and then I'm going to sew this one on. And then we're going to pin and do another side. So for now, let's get this side on. Without poking myself or hurting myself in any way. Is that possible? I don't know. So you can do this with any project. If you had a pattern that had so much waste, this is a good idea, is just to take those same pieces and continue adding to the quilt with them. Hopefully it'll look really awesome. So I'm going to sew this on with a 1/4-inch seam. I'm just going to bring my pins up here with me. No, I'm going to use it in a minute after I sew this on here. How many do I have not done?
Yeah.
Probably like 25 or 30, somewhere around there.
You gotta be.
Yeah, I have quite a few. My jobs come first over my quilting, so. Plus, I tend to do a lot more elaborate quilting on my own stuff because most jobs are just edge-to-edge quilting. I try to do custom work on all this stuff because it ends up going for sale anyway. So I tend to have fun and tack down a lot of stitches. So it is hanging off the edge, and I'm going to trim it to size. Once it's sewn, before I press, I'm just going to come over here. I'm going to try not to cut anything else. Move it out of the way. And I'm going to cut these ends off right to where it ends on the other border. So I'm going to line my ruler up straight with the border as well with the side border and just trim it off equally. Come to this other one and do that same procedure. Just laying it here nice and flat, lining a ruler edge up here and the ruler edge up there. And now I have a border that's exactly the same size. And now I'm going to press it towards the inner border. Yep. Because it wants to naturally go that way anyway. Because of all these seams.
All the steps in the actual quilting, including the quilting, what's your favorite making a quilt?
I like every part of making a quilt. Someone asked all the steps of quilting, what is my favorite? I like all the steps.
Really? You don't have one that you like better? Keeping the long arm?
I like it all. I like choosing my fabric, making up patterns. I like sewing it all together. I like quilting it. I like binding it. I like it all. There's not one step that I dislike. There's a couple different ways of quilting that I dislike. Like I don't like hand sewing. I don't want to hand sew. I don't need to hand sew. All right, again, I'm going to make sure that my arrows face out. I'm going to take this off of here because I know that that one's my center. I'm going to line it up right here and put a pin in it. And then I'm going to sit back down and pin it the rest of the way. If I can get it to stay on my table.
What do you think of Walmart Waverly versus Quilt Store brand photo? Blake, etc.
I like all brands of fabric, so Waverly is just fine. The only thing about Waverly is it does shred a lot, but guess what? I'm using a brand from a totally different company, and it shreds a lot. So, I mean, I guess it's all on the person about liking or disliking certain brands, but I could tell you this much. Walmart sells fabric that is novelty prints like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and cutesy kid stuff and so on and so forth. They sell that. So does your quilt store. So I'm not knocking local quilt shops, but the quilt shops sell that same stuff. They are licensed novelty prints. It's the same exact thing. I've gotten from both different places. They feel, look, and sew exactly the same. So I wouldn't knock it till you try it. Waverly brand has been good, and there's another brand that Walmart sells that's called Milo and Emma, or Emma and
Something like that.
Emma and Milo. I don't know. It's something like that. I like that brand too. They always have a lot of really good collections. When you go to Walmart and look, this is very matchy stuff. I like it. But I like fabric, period. I'm not really, I like it all.
How many blocks are in that quilt?
16.
How big will it be?
I have no idea. I don't know how big this will be, and it's got 16 blocks. I always forget to repeat what Scott said, but I always assume that you guys can hear him asking me the questions.
Nope,
And I should have sewed the other sides first, but that's okay. It's all going to be exactly the same when I'm done.
Are you ever going to make a Lone Star quilt again?
I've made many Lone Star quilts. I need to make the video for these little ones. Is that seeable? Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Um,
Do you want me to move the camera up?
I have the Twinkle Twinkle Little Lone Star quilts that I meant to make a video of. I just haven't gotten to it because I have been busy and I have another endeavor coming up that's going to keep me even more busier. But you have to turn the knob. The whole thing is tight. That quilt right there is the Twinkle Twinkle Little Lone Star. I was going to teach you guys how to do that, but again, life gets in the way of a lot of things. And I've taken up another thing to do.
Many projects. Many
projects. Exactly. But I try to get them all done. Ouch. 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 That hurt. All right, I'm going to sew this one on and do the same exact thing. Press it when done. On a normal border, I would not pin this. I would have probably measured and then cut the size and then sewed it directly on. See, this fabric shreds too. They all shred. And it's falling as I go, which pulls. If you see me using my knee lift to lift this, it's because I don't feel like holding my fingers to hold the seams down. So I put the knee lift to hold the foot up so that it can go over the seams and keep them open. Because sometimes the foot wants to pick it up and flip it to one side or the other. Like right now. And I want it to stay somewhat flat. All right, take a drink real quick. And what I'm going to do is trim and then press. It'd be nice to pick up the pins as I go.
Don't stab yourself.
All right, I'm going to stab. Yep. Don't want to stab myself. It's bad enough. My tip of this first finger on my right hand, the tip, just the tip, feels like it's been chopped off. I don't feel it. It's been numb for, I don't know, almost a week and a half now, and I don't know why. And another thing just broke off of my ruler, or my cutter.
Should I buy a new one?
No, I just need a new, I just need the tip for it.
Okay, well, I don't know what that is.
The hook, the thing that goes in it. I just need that. All right, I'm going to press this. I'm just pressing it under towards the other border because it's delay. And I'll show you these two borders in a second. Let me just get this pressed. Okay, so this is what the border looks like at this point. So you can see it goes out on the ends with white. And then my chevrons are pointing outward. So now I should be able to do the sides. Just gonna put this in my lap. We're gonna take another border. We're gonna pin it on here. And there should be plenty of excess because I had this much hangover on either side, on both sides, you know. So I should have plenty of only needing that one strip. All right, where's the center of this? All right, again, I want my arrows facing out, so I'm going to turn this around.
And Tiff is using pins.
Yeah, he's using pins. Something you really don't see here.
Rarity.
All right, so I'm just going to flatten it, pin it, flatten it, pin it. All down one side. This is why I don't use pins. I poked myself 500 times.
You have this thingies for your fingers.
It hit my hand. It stabbed me right here. Okay, that's a little blood spot now. I'll just lick it. I'll just be a vampire. So that I don't get it on my white quilt top. That's another reason why I don't use white. Cut myself, stab myself, you know, all sorts of things, billions of times while making a quilt. I could only imagine how many white quilts I would have stained by now if I always used white. Nothing against the color white. Obviously, it looks great as a, you know, as the background color for many, many quilts, but just not normally for me. All right, now I'm going to go the opposite direction. Flatten it out. Put a pin. Flatten it out. Put a pin. I could use clips, yes.
You have tons of cookies.
But I don't feel like pulling them out.
Okay.
Remember to pick up that pin.
Where's it at? Do you want me to get it?
I got it. It's right here. This is why I'm glad Becca sent me the red snappers for the long arm, because you guys don't even know how many times I poked myself there. I poked my belly. I've got pins stuck in my belly before.
She has.
Like literally,
Yes,
I was
has.
leaning against and I just walked myself to the side, not thinking anything of it. And I was at the end of a quilt and a pin went in one side of my belly and out the other, but still hooked to the long arm. And I went to pull back and it was stuck to me. I was like, are you kidding me? This thing, it only happens to me. So now you guys know why I really don't like pins.
Are you going to
Just-
miter the corners?
No, I'm not mitering the corners. They're just being sewed on straight.
I like pins.
No, I don't like pins. That's why I don't own a ton of them. And I use what's on this little dish here. The long ones. That way, you know, I don't lose anything. I do have some of those pins that you should be able to iron. But I don't see how you would pin something folded and leave the pin in there with an iron when you're trying to fold it out. I don't get it. I've never understood that one. So I don't know why we needed ironable pins unless it's for applique, which is a smart one, but I don't need them usually for anything. But I have them.
Karen said you need acupuncture.
Yeah. Come on. Be nice if I removed the pin before getting to it. All right, and then I have one more side after this. And then we need to calculate what the next number is going to be for the next border. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay, time to trim it. So I'm just lining it up. It lays pretty flat. The other one. I've never had a problem doing borders this way, minus the pinning part, obviously. Where I just add them on, but I pinned first, so I knew that I was making an accurate sew across it, you know, so I didn't just lay it at the top and hope for it to land at the bottom properly. So I did do a little bit of accuracy by pre-pinning it in place. But it's a lot of white. Ooh, wait. That's okay. It's going to end with color, so that's good. Okay. One more side to do. You can see here's one side like that, and then it goes into the other side, so there's a big gap between it. Normally I would have put this side on first and then this side, because now I have that double seam thing right there. I'm kind of like working a little backwards, but that's because I'm just trying to get it done. But usually I normally do it the correct way. Top, bottom, side, side, top, bottom, side, side kind of thing, or side, side, top, bottom. I try to be equal with my border adding.
I can't wait to see what you quilt in all the white.
I'm probably just going to heavily quilt it.
That's what I said earlier.
All right, let's make sure it's
Tiff likes heavy quilting.
Facing out. I'm going to center it. Pull that pin down here and put this one in up here. And then I'm going to sit down and straighten it out. Trying to keep the whole quilt on my lap because it's so heavy and it just wants to pool. You ever notice that? The more seams you add, the heavier the quilt becomes. I'm just barely adding these borders and it's making the sides like heavy.
It makes it all hot to sit on your lap.
Yeah. Definitely not a good time to have quilts this time of year sitting on my lap. But for the sake of YouTube videos, I always do it. I always have my quilts on my lap so that I can teach you guys how to do things. It'd be weird, only long arm quilting in the summer and piecing in the winter. It used to be the opposite though. Actually, I pieced in the winter and quilted in the winter, but
Yeah. What kind
For
of
the-
chair are you using?
A very squeaky one that I got at the thrift store for super cheap.
Do you like it?
It was called Free. That's the cheapest you can get. And no, I don't like it. I hate it. At first, it was great. And so far, it's the only chair I've sat in everywhere we've gone that my feet almost touch the ground. The rest of them, my feet in the lowest position don't touch the ground at all. But I did find a chair at Walmart I think I want to probably get. It's a little bit softer on the butt, so I may just get it. I just don't like chairs with arms because I bump a lot and I don't want to aggravate my nerves by bumping my elbows more than I need to. Plus, an armed chair just doesn't sit right here, so it has to be a small, tippy butt sized chair. Nothing big. But I do recommend having a comfy chair if you're going to be sewing. I get up and down a lot, but there are days that my legs don't like to get up and down a lot, so having a nice chair to sit in is always a good thing. But this one is not comfy at all. It's probably a cheapie from Walmart or Target or something in the first place.
Is it hard to set the Juki up for free motion?
No, just put for free motion on the Juki, all you have to do is change the foot out and lift your presser foot pressure gauge. That's it. And have your extension table, or if it's sat in a table, then that's all you need. And then thread it the same as you thread it for regular sewing. Everything's the same. You don't have to do anything else. If your tension is good for regular piecing, then it should be good for free motion quilting. And you don't even have to change your stitch length because some people put it at 0, but technically you don't have to because you're choosing your stitch length. So that's what free motion quilting is. So no, it's very easy to change this out to free motion. All right, almost done with this one. And then we have to see how big it is to do the math for the next one. Alrighty, let's cut these to the size. One, find the other. Two. Go. Let me press it, and then we're going to see how big this is at this point. I only added 3 more inches, and I don't even remember what the original size was, so I don't know. glass head pins that are flat. They don't. Not that I've ever seen. I don't know. Contact a company that makes pins and ask.
How big are your squares? I know you said it earlier, but
The outer squares, these the little ones I'm sewing on.
I don't know.
These
How big
are
your squares?
they're 3-inch. The big squares, I don't know what size they were. Plus, it wasn't my pattern to give out measurements. Nope. Nope. But my outer stuff I can because this is all me. Which it was, they were 1.5 inches and now they were 3-inch. So they were like not 1.5, but they finished at 1.5. All right, and then the sucky part about shredding fabric is, see all this right here? This is all stuck in the seam, and I gotta snip that away. I usually do it while I'm long arm quilting. I wait till it's on the long arm, and then Scott will come through and pick all the threads out of the seams. But sometimes I have to do it right now.
Is there sashing in between the blocks?
Yes, there is sashing in between the blocks. This is the only one that really shred pulled like that. The rest of them didn't come through. All right. Let's see how big this is. All 4 sides are exactly the same at this point. So 2 sides I'm going to build on first, and then I'll have to take a new measurement for the next 2 sides.
Border's your own creation, right?
Yep, the border is my own creation. Just felt like having chevrons around the outside.
The threads you were just talking about, cutting and whatnot, is there a way to avoid them?
Starch your fabric. Pre-starch it, iron it, do all sorts of stuff so that it doesn't shred as much. Make it like paper. And then it won't shred as bad. But all fabric shreds. Where's my tapey measure thing? There it is. Okay, so this is right there. It's right here.
It's your tapey measure thing. My tapey measure thing.
9. Okay, hold on. Scotty, I need this exact number. So what is the math on?
Okay.
Make it perfect.
Later on.
Yep. $39.75 plus 39.75.
Okay, hold on. Times 2?
Yep.
79.5.
Okay, leave that
79.5.
79.5. And this other side is probably exactly the same. We're going with these 2 sides first. But I'm assuming that they're exactly the same. I'm going to measure all 4, but I'm going to, like I said, they're the same. I should have added to the other sides first, but they're exactly the same. Yep, that's exactly the same. We're going to do these sides first because the last seam was on that side. But we're measuring anyway. I never do this, guys. Never measure my borders, but I need to. I usually just add. Oh, I need to piece the next one. That's why. And I need a number. The only number I'm going to get is from having the exact number from this. 3/4. One more side, just because I want to make sure that they're all exact. If it's 39 3/4 exactly, I'm going to be so surprised. That's in half, by the way, which is 70. What did you say?
79.5.
79.5. That means I did really good on my piecing.
What would
All right.
happen if they're not the same measurement?
Then that means my outer blocks that I'm going to be adding are not going to match. So what did you say it was?
79.5.
Okay, now divide that by 16.
That's not going to be a normal number.
Nope, it's not. Well, while he uses the calculator, we're doing 79.5 divided by 16 because I have 16 colors
So
here.
how are you going to do that? It's 4.96875. You're just going to do 5?
No. What did you say it is?
4.96875.
4.96875. So yeah, I'm going to do 5" plus a half each. So it's going to be 5.5 inch, slightly under 5.5 inch. So what's the one below 5.5? It's going to be an eighth of a difference. So quarter, eighth, quarter, 3/8. Yep. So I'm going to be cutting 5 3/8 inch strips off of here 2 times. Wait. Yeah. That means I need 4. Hold on. I'm sucking with this math thing again, guys. It needs to be 5 3/8 and 16 of them. So what's 5 3/8 times 16? I don't know how to do it on a calculator. So just do 5.5 times 16.
5.5 times 88.
I don't know how many pieces I'm going to need. We're just going to cut 5.5 inch pieces. Screw it. Screw the 3/8. We'll just cut off the ends. They won't be exact. All right. I'm going to stack these up and just cut them together. Cut them together. Yes, cut them at the same time because they are not level. This is why I don't write my patterns, guys, because the math. 4. I can cut 6 layers. 5 and 6. I'm also going to put them in order of the order that I have the thing. I think that'll be cool. The order of the one pieces. I can't think of the word for it. The chevron pieces. All right, so these are 4.5 inch wide. That's how big they are. And then I'm going to be cutting them into 5.5 inch segments. And then the 2 ends will just get cut off. That's all. And then I'm going to piece them all together. That one has silage in it. We want to cut that out. Oh, you can unplug that for now.
Are you done with sewing?
Temporarily. My iron likes to beep if you don't use it, telling us that it's shutting itself off until it beeps again. Then it's your next reminder, and it'll keep doing it until you turn it off. All right, let's grab this. Line all these up on a line. And I should get 3.
What are you doing with the strips now?
I am cutting these. They're 4.5 inch wide, and I'm going to be cutting them 5.5 inch segments.
Yeah, what are you doing?
They're going around the next border. I'm creating another border.
Okay.
Come on. So I'm going to go over 5.5 inches. And that's the half. This is the 5. That's 5. This is the half. And I should get one more. And this is the 5. Oh, look at that. All right. There's 16. 16. 16 and 16. And now I'm going to look at the order that my chevron is in. Because I think it'll be fun. So it's going to be that babyish blue color. Then one of the browns. It's not that one. It's this yellowish one. Right? Yep. Then the blue. Then that reddish, brighter red, maroon color one. That. And then another cream. That. Then the green. And purple. Green. You guys like how I'm totally just making this matchy-matchy? And brown. Yellow. Gray. Baby purple. Dark blue. Dark brown. Light blue. And the pink. That's the order. Let's do it again.
You could put equal amounts of white on each end like you did with chevron.
I could just do white cornerstones on the ends. All right, let's put this in order again. So that one, not that one. That one, not that one. Where's the other one? There it is.
That one, not that one.
Yep, that one. And this blue. Then not that. That one. I'm just going to sew them in order though first. That and the green. So all 4 sides will have these sewn, and I'll just put cornerstones then. So they'll be equal. And the dark purple and the green. You guys like when I make things up as I go?
That's pretty much what you do.
Yep. Okay, after the green is that brown, then the yellow, gray, baby purple, blue, brown, blue, and that. So there's stack 2. I could just lay this right here and it's stay. That would be awesome. All right, here we go again. That pretty blue. Blue.
Yeah. She had your talented and creative brain.
Then this blue, thank you. Then, and I'm pretty sure you guys all have a very creative brain. You just gotta use your noggin.
What fabric is this again?
Faith. Hold on, let me find that one that had that little salvage piece on it. Basic something. Oh man, it was one of these. Quilters Candy Basics. So I don't know where to find that. It was from 2011. I can tell you that. I do remember that. All right, after that is the green and the purple.
Yeah, one lady wanted us to find an old fabric line from years ago, and we had a heck of a time doing it. We never were able to do it, right?
Nope, I was never able to find the fabric line.
That was
long time ago.
Yeah.
Purple, then blue, then brown, blue, and
For
that.
quilts she wanted you to make too. That was for a client job, and we couldn't find it.
Yep. I have a hard time finding lines that are older. You have to look on Etsy usually. Not that one. It's this one. This blue. This is the last stack that I have to lay those colors out.
They said from connecting threads.
Ah, yes, connecting threads. I remember that being on some of the other salvages that I cut off. That is this green, purple, then this green, and the brown, and the yellow, and the gray. Where's the gray? There's the gray.
How often do you end up with a quilt you don't like?
Purple, blue. I've made like 3 or 4 quilts I don't like. That.
We like
And
pretty
that.
much all your quilts.
Yes, I like most of my quilts, but I did make a double jelly roll race 2 years ago. That is absolutely horrendous.
That's because you're picky.
No,
I liked it.
no, you didn't like it. That's the one with all that diamond fabric. That's ugly as.
I don't remember them.
Yeah, it was ugly as ugliness. All right, here we go. There are ugly fabrics out there, guys. Telling you. All right, this quilt is going to have so much white. I'm going to sew these together now, end to end to end to end. And I think I'm going to chain piece them. And I'm going end to end on the 5.5 inch, not the 4.5 inch. There we go. So this is first, that's second. It's going to be fun trying to keep this all in order. I don't need the pins, and I don't want them to fall all over the place. Bottom, chop. We're making 4 borders at the same time. Bottom, top. Just have to keep talking to myself. Bottom, top. Come to this end, grab this one, add the brown. And I'm out of bobbin. Go figure. Run out of bobbin when I get started on the flow. Let's put a whole one in there.
Well, they're talking about client quilts. We've had plenty of client quilts that Tiff has not liked, or me, but it's their quilt, so we don't say anything.
They're all beautiful. I may have never chose the colors that some people use, but they are all beautiful in their own way. But there have been some that I just like, what is this pattern? Who designed this? Why did they make this the layout? I've done quite a few of those. Sometimes I found out that they were kits too, and I'm like, really? They put this together as a kit? I don't know. I'm not the connoisseur of color, but I definitely know things that look okay together, you know, and some things I've seen don't. I've made a few myself. Scott thinks they're all great, but there are some that
I like your quilting.
don't
All
like.
your quilts.
I should have never made them.
I'm a fan.
But some of them are from when I was a beginner and didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Lydia, that's how you're doing.
How am I doing? I am very fatigued today. I've been having some weird issues lately. I'm waiting to see. Tomorrow I go to the gastro doctor. Today I had another choking issue with my throat at nap time. So I was like, I can't wait because tomorrow I go see the doctor so that they can schedule the endoscopy and see why I've been having my throat closing constantly, making me gag and not able to breathe. And that's been really bothersome, as well as lots of tummy troubles lately. Just so many tummy troubles, which is fatiguing me.
He's saying hi.
For those that are new to my channel, that is my cat Temper, who gets slight cameos because he doesn't really hang out in here. He's not a sewing companion cat.
Oh, he hangs out in here, but he hangs out in his spot.
Yeah, he has his own spot away from all of my fabric. If you didn't know about me, I may have a cat, but I definitely do not like cat and dog hair on my fabric. I don't have a dog, but if I did, I wouldn't want him on my fabric. I'm very OCD about that. So when I found out that my cat does not care for my fabric, I was like, yes. I got lucky with a cat that doesn't want to lay on everything.
He just wants to do his own thing.
Yeah. Oh, and he lost weight.
Yes.
The cat lost 1 pound.
Well, that's pretty good for an animal of his size.
Yeah. For his size and being 10 years old, he lost 1 pound. By the way, I'm chain piecing if this looks kind of weird to you and you're new to stuff. It's just keeping it all in order. So I'm taking one off the end and adding the next color. Going in order of the color that still had the last one on it. So I still have another pile that has that gray. So now I'm attaching the gray. And when I pull off these, then I go back to the last one again at the end and start the next colors. That way I don't have to break thread the whole entire time, and they're not all webbed together. Normally stuff like this I can web together, but I didn't feel like, doing that with this because they're not being sewn together. They're being their own borders individually. The only thing is these are going to get pretty long, and they're going to start yanking. Yeah, I thought about doing a piano keyboarder at first, but then I realized I really don't have, all I had was the 16 strips, and there's only like 22, 21 inches of them. So I figured I shouldn't cut them at 2.5-inch strips or whatever to do a piano key style, because all those added seams would have lost a lot more in my length, and then I wouldn't have had enough fabric for that. So I decided to go with big chunks. At first I was going to hook them all end to end and just make them fit all the way around the quilt. But then I was like, no, I need to make it a little bit more interesting. And the funny thing is, technically, this quilt is being made with only the 17 colors. 16 colors and a white. So 17 total fabrics. So that's very weird for me to do that even. A quilt that's just all the same fabrics. Usually I grab a border that's a totally, completely different fabric line that makes no sense. But it always works out in the end. It's kind of weird. But I just matched something from my shelves. This time I had enough to do this. So I figured, why not? Somebody already said earlier, didn't they? Said that it was on my channel like 2 months ago. Yeah, I made it with Becca. Oh. I thought I said hi to her earlier. She was on. Oh. All right. I guess now is as good time as any to announce the winners of the 30,000 subscriber giveaway. They were all handmade by me prizes. So all 10 winners are just getting what randomly shows up to them. I'm not picking and choosing. It's just each person is getting whatever. And the winners were number 1, Melissa Fannin. She's been watching for about 1 to 2 years and watches 3 to 5 videos a week. Frances Riviera. She's been watching 9 months to a year and watches 1 to 3 videos a week, which is pretty much what I post. Then the third winner was Patty Galbraith. She's been watching 2 to 4 years and watches 1 to 3 videos a week. Karen Brunette. She's been watching 3 to 9 months and binge watches all day, every day. I like those ones. That's why that answer was there. Then we got Marie L. She was 2 to 4 years, 1 to 3 times a week. Kristen Campbell been watching for 3 to 9 months, 1 to 3 videos a week. Nelda Franco, 1 to 2 years, watches 5+ videos a week. Jen Burkhart, she's been watching for about 1 to 2 years and watches 1 to 3 videos a week. Vicky Lemire has been watching 2 to 4 years and binge watches all day, every day. And number 10 was Judy Padilla. Maybe it's Padilla. LLA. It's probably Padilla. Judy Padilla. 2 to 4 years she's been watching my channel and she watches 1 to 3 videos a week. So again, that was Melissa Fannin, Frances Riviera, Patty Galbraith, Karen Brunette, Marie L., Kristen Campbell, Nelda Franco, Jen Burkhart, Vicky Lemire, and Judy Padilla. I'm going to say it that way because it looks like it's supposed to be that way. So those were all 10 winners of the 30K giveaway. So congratulations to you guys, for all of you who won, and everybody who entered. Just wait. There's always more giveaways in the future.
Yeah, tell them what I'd like to give away in the future.
I don't need to tell them that. That's just going to be random. Scotty bought stuff towards giveaways, for future giveaways. So next time we do a giveaway, it might be something that Scott bought. Oops. Yes, congratulations, everyone. Is Vicky the only one on here?
Vicky's the only one on here that I know of.
Congratulations, those of you who won. And either way, if they aren't on here, I have everybody's address ready to go off into the mail. So that's why I did it that way, so that all I had to do was announce the names. Made it easier. That way I don't have to wait for emails and unclaimed stuff. And there was 400 and something entries. Come on. Where's it at? There's the end. See, I'm getting these ends confused now because they're getting buried. They're getting so long. Last of the green. almost done. And then we'll add to 2 of them onto the sides. And whatever gets chopped off on the end will just get chopped off on the end. I'll try to start them both always at the top. And we'll add, I'll have to cut some white fabric for 5-inch squares on the end. I think I have some in that little tote thing that might make 5 inches. Or 4.5, because that's how wide these actually are. For a cornerstone. Hey, Alexa. If you guys don't know who that is my oldest daughter, the one that's moving to Tennessee. She's moving far, far, far away from me. And she's doing it quite soon. It's happening on the 1st. Whew. It's coming quick. She was on last week with me. We made bucket hats last week.
Yep.
And she didn't want to keep hers, so she took mine with the pineapples. And she was wearing it. She liked the pineapple one. She didn't seem enthused about it at first. She liked that one and kept that one. She just wanted it because Mommy made that one.
Yeah.
So I have hers. It's going to be my pool hat. Because that's all they were all going to be anyway, was for me to just have something to wear on my head in the pool. So that way my scalp doesn't get sunburned through my thin hair. Because that tends to happen to me. My scalp will get sunburned through my hair. It's crazy. I am adding borders to my Magnolia Stars quilt. For those asking what I'm doing. I can kind of see the comments, but it very much distracts me when I look at them and then I never get anything done. So that's why Scott reads the comments. I just see him in case it's something, you know, when he's like ironing, when he does iron. When I let him iron. When I let Iron Man use his muscles. Almost 2 more colors to add to each of these. Almost done. And then I could sew them on. I don't even think I'm going to press them. I think I'm just going to sew them on. Oh, I really should press them. All right. Almost. Come on. So faster, Tiffy. So faster. It's the trimming and then coming back to it thing. Plus, they're all like tangling up in themselves. Can you pre-get the iron on too?
Just wait. They asked me to hold this up.
Yeah, you can't see crud. It's not picking it up. Well, it needs to be pressed too. It's very wrinkled.
Oof. Did my best.
That's another thing. This fabric that I'm using, because I didn't starch it, the white, it's a very wrinkly white fabric. It gets wrinkled really easily. That's another thing that I don't like about using white. On a car, if white gets dirty, you can't tell. But if you, on a quilt, you get your white dirty, you can see it. If you get your white wrinkly, you can see it. If your colors bleed, you can see it. Yeah. All right, last one, and I'm going to press these, and they should be mostly the length of 2 of the sides. Mostly. They should have been like 5/8, but we're just going to make it work with what I have. So here's 1, just as long as it takes to put these on. 2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to find the center of these. I'm also going to get some white out. Is this 4.5 inches? No. I need some fabric real quick. I need to cut a 4.5 inch strip off of this white real quick. Just 1. So that I can have 4 corners. That's a lot of white on this quilt, but these were 4.5, right? Oh no, they're 4, not 4.5. They're 4 inches. Okay. I knew I was saying something wrong this whole time because I'm thinking to myself. All right. Just needed 1. And I'm going to cut 4.5 or 4.5, 4-inch squares because that's how it'll start and end. So I'm just going to cut 4 of them. I know I didn't really need to cut as much as I did, but for me, it's just going to make it, I'll just have more to add to my scrap pile right here, which is fine. So I just need 4 4-inch squares. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Put that over there. Garbage. There.
Remember, your other 2 ends will be wider now.
Yeah. So let's see real quickly how this lands. Those were made from, those are chevrons. That's what that's called, is chevron. Yeah. Those are made using half square triangles. All right. Starts with the blue way up here. Let's see how this lands on here. Because if I have to adjust it just a little for my adding the thing, but should be almost exact.
How large will this end up being?
I have no idea. Oh, look at that. It's about 1/2 inch too big. So I'm just going to sew them on. It's a good thing I didn't go with 5/8 then. So I'm going to sew 2 sides on first, and then I'm going to come back and sew the other 2 sides, but I'm going to add an end to one of them, and the other I'm going to show you how I improvise so that I don't have to cut the size. So I'm going to start by just throwing 2, 1 on each side. I'm not even, yeah, I am. Sorry, I should have pressed it first.
What other background color would you choose?
I would have chose a different color palette, period. I don't really like muted colors. I like really bright and cheery. So I would have done this in a different colorway, honestly, if I would have chose something else with probably like a blue or a purple background. Even an orange background or a yellow background, but it's not white. I don't like white. That's okay, because I'm not keeping this book when I'm done. All right, Scott, can you just press these all to this side, that way? Towards me. I show you. press all the seams like this. Hold this, give it a little tug, make it flat, make it flat, make it flat. Sliding it this way. That's because I didn't hold it long enough. All right, here we go. I'm just going to put the blue on the end, and then the magenta at the bottom will be the color that gets slightly cut off, which is fine. And then sewing it on. I'm going to lose some of my points because my little scraps were not perfect. I'm going to tell you that now. So I'm probably going to lose some of my points. And guess what? I'm okay with that. And you should be too when you make stuff like this. I get dry mouth so often when I'm here talking with you guys. What?
This piece of junk iron has more issues.
Yep, it's spewing out stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that. The water, calcium.
All right. Well, actually, it's losing more than half because I had not pressed it. So I'm just going to, you can see right here, it's hanging over by this much. So about an inch and a quarter almost. I'm just going to fold it onto itself when I get it fully onto my table. And then I'm going to use my scissors to cut it away. So it's on itself nicely. I'm just going to hold it still right here and then cut the excess away. So it'll be this pink one that's short on all four sides, but guess what? I don't care. All right, there's one side. Now I need another, Scotty. And then I just run it over with my chair and get black marks from the chair on the quilt too. This is another reason why I don't like white.
It happens.
Can you guys tell I really don't like using white?
Mine, all of these towards you?
Yep. All right, here we go. And I probably could have took a little bit off both ends if I wanted.
The white is your most used color next to... White is your most used color next to black.
Yeah. It is my most used color, but I don't like using it. Yep, I go through black and white and gray. Those are my three basic colors. And cream. I do go through a lot of cream as well, which I actually don't have anymore. No, yeah, I do. I have a little bit of cream left. I think the ironing board needs to be redone because it's flat underneath. Huh?
There's only 3?
There's 4.
There's only 3 here?
Yeah, I sewed one on that I pressed.
Oh, okay.
All right. Now, to do the 2 sides. So what I'm going to do, bring this up here. I'm going to finger press it out towards all this color, just like here on the edge.
When was the last time we redid our ironing board? It was way more than 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, we haven't done the ironing board in over 2 years. It was way before the pandemic thing even. It was like 2018 was the last time I covered it, I think. All right. Grab from here. Watch this. Let's perform some magic. We're going to take a 4.5-inch square and put it on the edge right here. I'm going to do this all from sitting down. I'm going to sew it on after I rethread the machine because it broke.
Explain to them what a UFO is.
A UFO is an unfinished object. That is what us in the quilter worlds call a UFO. So a lot of us have them. Even non-quilters have UFOs. Woodworkers can have a UFO. Anybody that has an unfinished object.
Denise has 79 tops.
Holy moly, that's a lot of tops.
Yeah. You might have 20 or 30, but you don't have 79 over there.
Yeah. All right, so here's my white square on one end. I'm not going to touch the other one yet. Watch how I add this without measuring. I'm going to put this one on here first. I'm going to nest the seam because I did finger press away from and then towards the color. Okay, so the end is started. I'm going to sew most of the way down. Most of the way. I'm also going to cut this from itself because it got tangled. Stay, quilt. Stay. All right. Just going to sew down my side. Just laying it on here. No pins this time because I don't usually pin. It was just that last border. You guys got lucky seeing me do that.
Years ago?
Yeah.
Probably like 3, huh?
Yeah.
Another lady asked when we did it.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since that ironing board. And I put 2 layers of wool in it then. But I think the wool pressed itself down. I think I'm pressing against wood, I think. That's what it feels like. That's why my seams aren't going flat like they used to. And yeah, no steam is penetrating through my fabric. Alrighty, so I'm gonna come up close to this other end. Oh, what the? Well, now, this is short because I didn't take into account an extra 4 inches on each side. Got to add this on here. It's a good thing I have little cutoffs. I was going to show you guys a magic trick, but now it's a Magic Plus trick. Okay, is that long enough? Oh, that's like the perfect size. Oh, no, it was too long, huh? Never mind. I was good. I'm confusing myself. No. They're right sides together at this point. All right. I'm coming close to this end right here. Now I'm going to stop right now. And I have this big long tail right here and an empty end. And I want this corner to be a white square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on here, and I am going to flatten out the quilt with my pressed seam towards my solid colors. And then I'm going to lay this on here just like this. And I'm going to fold it back onto itself, and I'm going to end it where this seam right here, this white, is going towards the darks. I'm going to end my fold at the end of that seam. So I want it to be right here. So it's a 1/4 inch away from the white, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead, it's nice and straight. I'm going to make that cut. Anyway, I didn't have to add to the end. I don't know what I was thinking. I was having a brain fart. I'm going to take my white square and this, put it right sides together, add it on while I'm sitting here at the machine, press it towards the darker fabric, not the white, lay it together, and now these two seams should nest perfectly, and it should be the same exact size right here. Look at that. So then I just go up to where I ended and continue on. And look at that. I didn't have to measure to an exact size to add my what is this called again? There's a word. Cornerstone. Thank you, Mr. Scotty. See? And I have a perfectly matched up cornerstone. Isn't that cool how that works? So you really don't have to get up and measure anything. You just add a cornerstone to one end, sew mostly to the other end, break it away, and then continue on after adding the piece you need. So where's my other border? Oh, it's way over there.
You want me to hand it to you?
Please.
Is that what you're getting at?
Yep. I'm going to finger press this away, so towards the darker prints. It's the only fabric pressed that way, too. The rest of it's all pressed towards the light. I'm going to grab the end that I start with, which is the pretty blue. We're going to attach a cornerstone to it. My 4-inch square. I'm going to finger press this towards the dark so it will nest with my border. We're going to put it right sides together right here, nesting up my seams. That's the cat's spot on the floor, by the way, on a bag.
Yes, since we were talking about it earlier, that's where he lays.
Okay.
Now go back to talking about your seams and whatever.
I'm going to lay this where you guys can see. I'm going to start on this end. I got my cornerstone on here, only on the one end so far, because I don't know how long it needs to be until I get to it. Just going to sew this side on. And then mostly to the end. Oh, that didn't need to be cut. Just going to lay it on here. So. I do this quite often when I decide I want cornerstones at the last minute. I've done that many times. A 2.0. So a 2mm stitch length. Trying to keep this nice and flat so you guys can still see right here. All right, so I'm going to come close, but not all the way. so you can see it doesn't come to the end because we didn't have enough fabric, but technically we do. So I'm going to break thread right here, move it out of the way. I'm going to finger press. I should have press, but I'm just going to finger press for now. This seam back, no, because I got to press at the end anyway. So what I'm going to do is take this piece that's hanging here, and I'm going to fold it on top of itself, same way I cut my borders to size, except I am lining this fold up that I'm creating on top of itself with the end of my white fabric here on the back. So my seam is pressed away, so it's still the original length of that fabric. Once it's laying here, I can see where that corner is, and I can tell that it's lined up because the side lines up. Then all I do is take my scissors, come in, cut it on that fold that I made, take the end, add my white cornerstone to it. This is for people like me who really don't want to get up at this point. You know, you just do it all from a sitting position. Finger press it back, so towards this colored fabric. Line it back up, and this right here should nest and should be exactly the same size. So I lined this. What is this color called? Like, whatever, it's a pinky color. I lined this pinky color up and then made that fold. It's coral. That's what I'm trying to say. And then the fold was folded on the seam right here at the edge of it, right at the edge of the fabric. That way I could still match them together. I'm going to have to do like a separate video of it, just of that only. And then I'm going to go to where I ended, about an inch above that, and continue on sewing until the border is fully attached. I'm just holding my nested seam right here.
Doing good, my love. Doing good.
And just like that, let's press it away from real quick. I added cornerstones without measuring and without having to stand up, and they nest beautifully and lines up perfectly. How about it, right? All right, let me press this back real quick, and then I'll show you guys the final quilt. Don't worry about it. Just plug this one in.
You don't like it, something?
No, I don't, but
we were all talking about Squeak earlier. We need Squeak back.
well, we could always buy Eric's off of him. He has Squeak's cousin.
Yeah, but he's not going to sell it. It's okay.
I know, it's a
We
joke.
don't need another iron. He's have a ton. I just don't like any here.
I don't like them either.
You do too. You like the big beast?
I like the big beast, but I don't like the other ones. They're great for clothing, just not quilting. All right, so I'm just going to press all these back real quick. This iron is not still hot.
They say you're the queen of improv quilting.
Yeah. I try to be somewhat whatever with my quilting. I definitely have learned myself. I definitely have taught myself many different little tricks around having to do something properly. Like the way they teach you in a class versus the way I teach you, I definitely am nowhere near what they teach you in a class. But I have fun with it, and it still lines up. It still lays flat. So I don't see, like some people say that it's, you know, you're not supposed to, like quilt police or whatever you want to call it, you know, but I've done it my way and I've not had a problem. So why does it matter? Whichever way someone does it, if it's easier on themselves, go for it. So I always tell you guys, if it's easier on you to just do something, do it. If you want to make it harder on yourself and you have the patience for it, do that too. You know what I mean? I need it to lay somewhat flat to hold it up and show them what this thing finally looks like. Yeah, they'll fold in on their own though, not being pressed.
Okay.
So we don't want that. want it to somewhat be flat. It'll get a good pressing before I quilt it, which is like in another year at the rate I'm going. And I'm not going to tell you guys to stop sending me long arm jobs just so I can quilt my own, because I do love quilting everybody else's quilts too. And it pays the bills. So. Yep, long arm jobs keeps us afloat because YouTube barely pays anything. Yeah, I can do a video on that. I definitely can show you guys. Yep, I'll have to do up close because I didn't set up the up close camera today. I really wasn't in the mood to have a ton of cameras and more lights and more everything running today. I just wanted you guys to watch me on a screen and finish a UFO that's been sitting in the corner for the last few months. Just wanted to get it done. I think it looks cute though. I don't like that I had to cut off. I don't like that I had to cut off so much of the coral, but
2 or 3 of them said dibs on it and everything.
I like how I can take someone else's pattern though and add my little flares to the borders, or what. Sometimes I change other things in other people's patterns too and create something totally different, because now this will look different than any other. All right, 2 more sides. Sorry, it takes a minute to press the 4 borders, and I'm not pressing the wrinkles out of this. You guys are just gonna have to view it with wrinkles because I'm not in the mood to press the whole quilt. Plus, like we've been telling you, the ironing board's kind of flat, so it's not pressing very nicely. I don't know what happened or why, but every couple years, the batting in all of the ironing boards, even the regular old-fashioned one that I used before building this big thing, the batting just makes its way out.
3 months from now, when it's nice outside, we're going to open the garage.
Yeah. Gotta wait till it's nice outside to
redo the whole thing.
Staple it and stuff.
Board, and we made it. We'll do a whole big old video.
Okay. Before I go and before me and Scott hold this up for you guys, does anybody have any questions? Because he's not going to be able to read when we hold this up, because we're going to be holding this up together. Because it seems pretty big, and I'll be able to tell you a number in a minute. I added a bit to it, so this should be bed size now. I don't know what size bed, but it'll be a full-size bed quilt now. Yep. Yep. I'm not going to pluck all the threads out of the seams yet either. Just going to leave those until I long arm. Just know, whoever wants to buy this in the future, it's going to probably be quilted to death. Because that's what I want to do with all this white. All right.
Well, if somebody wants to buy it before it's quilted, they can decide what they're going to quilt it on.
Oh, yeah, true.
That would be a different story there.
All right, guys, we're going to put this over here, and me and Scott are going to turn the camera and hold this up for you guys to see.
Okay, you turn the camera.
I'm going to put the camera, you can just grab it and we'll put it in a position. It's called Magnolia. All right, here we go.
Patty's on and I don't have her shirt on. Sorry, Patty.
I'm going to put this over here, and I'm going to go grab the opposite end so I could show you guys. I got to sneak under here. That hurt. Just a little. All right, you grab that end. Here, then grab this end. I want them to see the border.
I'll see it.
Can you see it in the screen?
I'm like way behind. I don't know.
Oh, well. Grab this side and go that way. I'm going to look on this screen because this one's almost even with me.
Okay, yeah, you can see it.
So that's the quilt. Here, Mr. Scotty, grab that end. It is about 87. I'm kind of just holding it. Whatever. Let's hold up a different side.
87 by.
It's going to be 87 by 87. But...
We'll make sure.
And that's not fully properly pressed either. Yeah, 87. So hold it up again so I can see. Go your way more.
Just that far as I can go. I'm in the wall.
Oh. There you go. So there it is. Finally done. There's a nice top. Okay. All right, guys, let's go over here. Put you right here for now, because I don't feel like removing anything.
They're all so beautiful. Love it.
All right. So it's finally done. Now I just need to hang it up. So it's 87-ish by 87-ish. That's not like a correct measurement at this time because we're kind of letting it hang. So it's probably around that. So it'll definitely fit on a full-size bed nicely. But at 80-inch by 80-inch, because a queen-size mattress is 60 by 80. So technically, this could fit on a queen size. It just won't have as much up at the top because it's not rectangular. But I would say perfect hangover on a full size for an 80-ish by 80-ish quilt. It's almost 90 inches. So
You said 87.
87, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying that a mattress is 60 by 80 for a queen. And this is 87. So it'll fit hanging on both sides. And at the end, you would just have to have it not up all the way at the pillows. So, all righty. So that's that. I'm done. Thank you guys for hanging out and learning how to do this wonderful pieced border and watching me put this pieced border on here. All of my arrows face away from the quilt, which I liked that. That was like the perfect idea.
The size were your little squares, 5 inches?
4. These were 4. I cut them 4 inches by 5.5 inches. So, and then we added the 4-inch by 4-inch. Why is that word? Cornerstone. So, oy, oy, oy. That's a lot of quilt now. I just gotta quilt it one of these days.
Someday.
Yep, someday when I choose a backing fabric, which is gonna have to be muted to go with the mutedness of this quilt.
Look at all yellow or cream.
All right, but I hope you guys enjoyed catching up
Good.
with a UFO. Hopefully you guys were able to sew some of your UFOs while you were hanging out today. And if not, get out there and sew some of your UFOs. So thank you for hanging out. Congratulations to the winners again on the 30K. And I will see you guys when I see you guys. Bye, everybody.
Bye.